Well, our favorite toys are back in theaters. Toy Story 4 opens this weekend, and we're going to tell you whether or not you should go and pay your money to see it, and whether or not it's good for kids. Okay, Toy Story 4, at least the good part is you still have Tim Allen, you still have Tom Hanks playing their roles as Buzz and Woody. But what did you think of the movie overall?
We're going to jump right into it?
Right into it.
Okay, I thought it was a pretty well-crafted meh movie.
Again, right?
It seems to be the trend of 2019. We got some really well-made movies that you come out of the theater saying, well, it was okay.
Now, the storyline to me was okay. Now, if you're going into this movie expecting a Buzz and Woody movie, throw that away, because Buzz is hardly in the movie at all. He's like a very side character. If you're expecting to see Slinky Dog and Dinosaur and the Pig and Mr. Potato Head, they're also just side characters. They're hardly in the movie at all. And I have to say, other than it's kind of like a Woody Bo Peep movie.
Mm-hmm. Now, is it a problem that the other toys are not in the story? I think it kind of is.
It is. It seemed to take something away from the world of Toy Story, Andy's room.
And they inserted a whole bunch of other toys, but those are not the toys we started loving in the beginning and journeyed with for 14 years up till today.
So no, and you know what? I'm thinking back on it right now. Other than Forky, I don't remember hardly anybody. Any of the other toys in the room.
Well, that might be the beginning of Alzheimer's.
If I wanted a joke, I'd follow you into the John and watch you take a leak.
Well, kind of what I mean by that is they're really not part of the movie. Right? If you think about it, it's really Bo Peep, the scary-ass mannequin dolls with Gabby, and Woody. And everybody else is in the movie barely.
Yeah, they're the background side characters.
Bo Peep's sheep are in this movie more than any of the other characters, almost more than Buzz.
So I think they did this to have a more a gender parody. So they have Gabby is a little girl's doll. You have Bo, another strong female lead, and you have Woody.
you had her. You also had the female cowgirl from Toy Story 3.
Jessie was prominent for a background character.
So like they already have these good roles already out there. I don't know. The trouble, here's the big problem. I had two kind of problems with this movie. It had funny moments in it and things like that, but they're toys, right? But they spend almost the entire movie just hiding. Way overboard with the hiding. They're hiding in every scene and sneaking around in every scene, as opposed to interacting with each other and having a story and a plot line. I really missed that from Toy Story 1, where, when Buzz was trying to convince himself that he's really a space ranger and all this. Like, those were long scenes in the room. They weren't just flopped down or hiding behind a bedpost or hiding behind bushes. And they do that the entire movie, not just one or two scenes. The entire movie is that.
Yeah, I thought there were a lot of instances where scenes dragged on a lot, or even if something was happening, it wasn't very interesting.
No.
A lot of drama rather than hijinks. So, are you anticipating kids to like this movie? Well, in my opinion, this movie is not for kids.
No. There's some scary scenes in this movie for kids.
You know who this movie is for?
I heard you.
This movie is for me, a parent. The whole point of this movie is to entertain the parents that brought their kids to the first Toy Story movie back in, 1995?
Yeah.
And now those kids who were 5 and 7 years old are all grown up, they're moving out, they're going to college. And that's what this story is all about. It's about Woody having to let go of his kid. spending his entire life just dedicated to raising that kid or another child, and now having to find his own place in the world when the kids move on without him. So are kids going to enjoy a drama-heavy Toy Story like that? I don't think so, but the parents will, and that's who this movie is for. When I say enjoy, I mean it'll resonate with them, but the movie should have been more entertaining. It wasn't a very entertaining movie.
No. And I don't know how many times in this movie they use the same device to move a scene forward, where they're running to the place that's going to make them safe, and just one of the characters, randomly different characters, would just suddenly notice something and stop and turn and stare while the other people are running to where they're going, and this causes them to miss where they're going, and they go off on another little adventure. That happened 4 or 5 times in this movie with everybody, with Buzz, with Forky, with Woody, with Bo Peep. Every single person did it, and I just went, can you use something else instead of somebody, oh, look at that. Oh,
when I saw the trailers, I was kind of worried that this movie would be focused too much on this crazy little Spork character. And to my surprise, I enjoyed the Spork character. He has his own little thing in the movie, which I won't spoil it for you, but he's not in it too much, and he's a good comic relief character. Unfortunately, there wasn't a lot of comedy elsewhere to be found. Just dark, gloomy hiding.
Yeah. Now, before you take your kids to it, we're not going to spoil the movie for you, but I will tell you there are some very dark, like I said, dark undertones to this movie that reference some things that, if you think about it, that's what they're referencing. One is organ theft. You know, when you wake up in a bath covered in ice and your kidneys are gone or your liver's gone. One of them is suicide.
This one, I think if you take a really dark interpretation, I don't really see it.
If you start putting them together with the mannequins as hitmen, and you know what I mean? Like, there's a lot of darkness in this
it's not
movie. It's not lighthearted by no means.
It's not bubblegum and rainbows like the first Toy Story.
No.
At all.
So what would you say are your pros for the movie and your cons?
I thought the acting was great.
Okay.
I thought the Pixar animation was stellar. It is the best I've seen to date by far. Like, when they're going between little cubby holes in an antique shop, you see some spider webs and dust bunnies, and it looks freaking real.
Yeah, there's some skyline scenes of a Ferris park kind of thing, like amusement park. Just absolutely spectacular.
Yeah, I thought the animation in the Pokemon movie was good. This by far is the best animation I've seen ever.
Till Frozen 2 comes out.
That's a different kind, though.
True.
The computer animation.
Yeah.
That's it.
Okay, so that's it. Good acting and
good acting, good animation. Maybe some message for the parents that parents will resonate with, but other than that, it was, I think, maybe a fail movie.
Okay, your cons?
Cons, not interesting enough for children, very dark, and it dragged a lot.
Yeah, I'm pretty much on the same thing. Visually, spectacular. You love the characters. You know, when Woody has a sad face, you melt. You know what I mean? You've lived with this character growing up. But it just, the story, I was not a big fan of the story at all. It didn't intrigue me. There was no real suspense there, and I understand it's a kid movie, but like, it just looks like they wrote a scene and said, okay, now how can we stretch this into a movie? And that's what they did. Just long and drawn out.
Now, I wonder if it has anything to do with John Lasseter not being part of this movie.
Could be. But it's one of those things, right? When you have a movie that kind of like a trilogy and it ended so well on a high note, this movie seems like they just made it to see how much money they can make on this one and didn't really have a reason to carry the story forward and move on.
But you know what?
I understand making money.
I give them credit, though. This looks like it's going to be the close of the Toy Story franchise as it exists now. They might do a spin-off or something like that.
I said that for 3, and now we had 4.
But this is definite. When Woody goes off on his own, knowing that he's not going to be there for a child anymore, you kind of figure that's the end of the story.
Until him and Bo Peep have their own adventures, and hey, guess what? They find Buzz later on. It can happen.
That's going to be direct to Disney streaming.
Now, the cons, I definitely really don't feel this is for young children at all. You will have a hard time keeping them interested. There were children in the theater when we saw it, and they were not... I didn't hear laughing from the kids. I heard a couple adults laughing a few times. We smiled a few times, but overall, it was just a well-animated, long movie that I could have waited to see and watch it on TV.
So, in the end, what would you rate this movie?
I would rate this a wait for Disney streaming movie. It's as far as these kind of movies go, I'd say it's about a 6.5. It's not a 7 to me is a great. I saw it in a theater. It was a good movie. It was fine. I had a good time. I didn't have a great time in this movie, but it's well done. But it's just, if I'd have missed it, I wouldn't have missed it. If you know what I mean. It's
okay. My rating is it was okay, but I wish I had gone to see Anna.
And we have no idea what Anna's about. So we're gonna go see Anna. We'll see you next time at the movies.